I have to say, pushing yourself past your limits, hold on, let me turn the fan off. Pushing yourself past the limits feels amazing. For those that don't know, I'm Eric Emanuel. Tubby is gone. And the reason he's gone is because that was somebody that made excuses. Listen, when people worry about mental health is a huge thing. So I highly encourage you to get help. First and foremost, last year I sought out a therapist, a CBT therapist who worked with cognitive behavioral therapy, who reinforced basically a lot of information I already knew. But hearing it from somebody that works with people that are neurodivergent, and she clearly called out, yeah, you're neurodivergent. Like, this is 2 + 2 = 4. Like, we got it. You're neuro, bro. And I was like, well, can we take it one step further? Because I think I got the... And she's like, I can recommend you for testing, but that's as far as that went. So that's the only claim I'm going to make. So that wraps up this story and why I haven't deleted this channel. When this channel started, it was because I was a kid that grew up, and the very first job I ever had, family would say, you got to get a full-time job. You got to get a job. You got to get a job. So I get a job, right? And nothing against my family, because most families are like this, but I get a job dishwashing, right? I'm making $5.15 an hour, or $5.90 an hour back then, working Saturdays and Sundays at a diner from 6 to 1:30. Paycheck every 2 weeks was like, I don't know, like $100, something like that, 90, $100. Back then, my mom would be like, I'm like, oh, you said I had to get a job because it's time to contribute at 15. Oh, okay. So for the first 3 months of that job, my mom would take that check and then maybe pay me back half of it, or usually she caught me up. She was pretty good with it. Like, and when my mom had money, she was always generous. So my mom wasn't bad. So I want to make sure if my mom ever watches this video, she'd be like, I gave him everything. You did, bro. That's the point. You kind of just overgave me stuff, and I didn't learn to do it myself. So now, as a YouTuber that built this following on this channel of a bunch of wrestling fans, the reason I built that following was because I was chasing things. My family needed money. I have skills. I was able to create a YouTube channel. I was able to get on Machinima. I was able to build this together. But what was the only thing that brought us all together as actual fans, if you were a longtime fan of me? It was people. I connected with people. I still remember people. The names, if I pulled up a stream and like remember some of the names from back in the day, Walmart Boxers, like there's a lot of people I could shout out and remember. Because for me, it was about the people. The money was great and I loved it, and it was addicting. Just like DoorDash is, when you can go out that same day and make money and cash out right away, even though you're wasting your car. It was that rush for you, right? Because you have the skills, and here's something that can reward you immediately. So I did YouTube. And when 2K15 came out, we couldn't, like, the next gen inviting system sucked. So inviting you guys, we used to do lobbies, elimination chambers, 1,000+ people watching. I could invite people, bam, 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 bam. The new system sucked. It made it so hard to connect with friends. And then the social media, man, like, I started documenting in 2015 all the bots, and just I would follow a lot of accounts that would follow me. I'd bookmark them or tag them, and then I would watch those bots transform from things of being like wrestling fan, and then like a political account, and then I'd be like, okay, so social media is not real. So I really care about people. So after all this time, people on this channel had shouted, stop being a money whore, right? Go get a job. So I did. I went to DoorDash. And I overdid it, man. I was working 40, 50 hours. It was a great job. Like, I loved it if you did it right, if you saved properly, if you maintained your car properly, if you had a mechanic friend. It could have been the greatest job in the world. I didn't. But what I got to do over those 3 years is fix my life and realize who I was, and to become a better person, to realize if I had been this version of myself the first time I went up on YouTube, well, one, I wouldn't have became popular, because back when I became popular, the algorithm pushed big people. I'm not popular because of my skills, my talent. I was popular because, in hindsight, when you look back, and I remember even in my popularity, the WWE videos, they would end up on bot sites. Like, I don't know how. Like, it's my opinion. Because it was a big guy raging on YouTube. And there's like this era on YouTube. And I was in that era. But for me, I may have been taken advantage of for my looks, and I wouldn't have realized it. Meanwhile, I'm pushing this. Looks don't matter. Just, I'm a good person, which is all true. I've said my entire life, I can lose weight whenever I wanted to, and you get one life, make the most of it. I've said that repeatedly. And then I go and lose all this weight so fast, and every medical test, I'm thinking, like, something's got to be wrong. And you're down 300 pounds, and your doctor, you finally go in for a lab test, and he's like, no joke, when your doctor, like, by the way, people think, like, mentally you're having issues. Yeah, imagine going from 500 pounds, when you're at 500 pounds, every doctor's looking at you going, so what kind of diabetes, blood pressure, what issues do you have? I have none. And they run all the tests, and they're like, this is not possible. And then you lose 300 pounds, and you're in the best shape of your life, and your doctor looks at your lab results and goes, you should write a book. So, like, an experienced doctor. And you're sitting there going, like, okay, that's very narcissistic. I'm not going to go write a book. I'm a nobody on the internet, right? Everybody loses weight. But I'm not everybody. I started this channel as Tubby Emu as a guy trying to connect with wrestling friends. But I didn't eat healthy. I didn't exercise. I didn't go to church. I didn't have moral values because I turned down a lot of sponsorships. One of the jobs I had was working with my buddy on YouTube, Ghost Robo, and managing his channel. And I'm trying to get brand deals and sponsorships. And I remember him saying once, like, why aren't you just constantly spamming out emails? And I went, because I'm trying to build sponsorships and relationships and campaigns that last, companies that they can keep coming back to us. I'm not in this for the one quick payoff check. And looking back, the ones that I did take a paycheck for, like Pizza Hut, who better to promote Pizza Hut than a 470-pound dude talking about the value of Pizza Hut? Bro, do you know how authentic that is? Pizza Hut, your marketing team deserves a raise for that one, in hindsight. So now imagine you're at the bottom. That you said you were going to see this out to the finish, and you find out who you are. You're DoorDash, and you can work 50, 60 hours a week because you can finally stand, because you get diagnosed with sciatica and a herniated disc. You've mediated those symptoms, so much so that when you finally saw a physical therapist, she went, what are you doing here? What can I actually do for you? She started showing me steps, and I'm like, I was showing her the yoga stuff. She's like, yeah, that's what I would have showed you right here, 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 here. Like, I've already done the steps because I changed my YouTube algorithm. Instead of looking at crap, I started looking at yoga and science videos and education, and the fail armies and stuff went way down. And as a person, I became better. But because I committed on this path and I didn't cut out from DoorDash and overpaid for a rental car, and it leaves you pretty broke. But then you remember your skills, your talents, that under the wire, there is nobody better in your mind, because you should always put yourself first. Because when you take care of yourself and do what works for you, like choosing not to be homeless, choosing to go to a campground and pay to have a contract at a place that has water. All knowing you're turning down help from people because you know once you get diagnosed yourself, you have a lot of friends that are ashamed to ask for help. You've watched friends in the last year commit suicide. Ashamed. So you as the artist, the person that unfortunately has this ability to go to the darkest places and get sad and just always look at it from a positive angle. And don't give up. Because that towel in the video I showed you, never give up, is the reality. You can't give up. You need to push to become the best version of yourself, even if people around you think it's wrong. Staying true to myself has honestly been quite the journey. It's hard, and I think I finally got scared for the first time, realizing how screwed I was. But then that's where the belief in God comes in. And that if you're a good person and you did things for the right reasons, people will be there to support you. That's the part of the journey we're on now. Because everything that I've done in the last 5 years are the steps people in my life could take to improve their lives. Well, they know the things that I'm missing can improve mine. And that's the point. Community and being there for each other. Checking in on your friends. not abandoning a Tubby Emu YouTube channel for people that may just go, hey, I remember you from a long time ago. What's going on? My life's going hard right now. Versus starting a new channel and making tons of money because nobody knows who you are and you can have a whole different persona. I'm Eric Emanuel, and I'm not going anywhere.